The bright lights of the stage seemed to swallow him whole. A barefoot Filipino boy, no older than 12, walked slowly toward the microphone, his small frame almost trembling under the weight of thousands of eyes. The wooden floor felt rough beneath his feet, but it was nothing compared to the pounding in his chest. His shirt was faded, his shorts worn thin, and yet his eyes carried both fear and something brighter, hope. The murmurs from the crowd rolled over him like waves. Some whispered with doubt, others tilted their heads, curious about the tiny figure daring to stand there. One of the judges, leaning forward with a kind smile, broke the silence. "What's your name, son? And where are you from?" The boy swallowed hard, his voice barely more than a whisper. "I'm from a small fishing village," he said, each word careful and sincere. "I sing, to help my mom." The audience quieted instantly. The judge's brow softened, but the boy kept his gaze on the microphone, afraid to meet the eyes that were studying him. He had never been in a place like this, never seen lights so bright, or heard a room so still. All he had known were mornings by the sea, casting nets with his uncle, afternoons selling fish in the marketplace, and nights singing to his mother to make her smile despite her illness. Now, here he was, in a world so far from home, holding on to the one thing he had always believed in, his voice. In that moment, with the stage stretching out before him and the crowd waiting, he knew this was his chance. Whether they clapped or laughed, he would sing, because for him, it wasn't about winning. It was about hope. And for his mother, it was everything. The soft strum of the guitar filled the air, and the boy gripped the microphone a little tighter. At first, his voice trembled, thin and unsure, like it might break under the weight of the moment. But then, as if something deep inside had been unlocked, the sound began to grow, rich, warm, and achingly beautiful. The familiar opening lines of Hotel California floated out into the silent arena, each note carrying a piece of his story. The audience, who moments ago had been skeptical, leaned forward in their seats. The judges exchanged glances, their expressions shifting from polite interest to awe. His voice wasn't just singing the words, it was pouring out years of quiet struggle, the salt of the sea air, the loneliness of nights spent wondering if life could ever be more than survival. By the second verse, the shakiness was gone. His tone soared, filling every corner of the stage with something raw and honest. One judge's eyes glistened, the corners of their lips trembling in an unspoken reaction. The boy closed his eyes, letting the music guide him, forgetting about the lights, the cameras, and the thousands of strangers watching. It wasn't a performance anymore. It was a confession, a lifeline thrown out to the world. And in that moment, everyone listening understood, this wasn't just a song. This was his soul speaking. As his voice wrapped around the chorus, the scene seemed to shift in everyone's mind. The audience wasn't just hearing music, they were seeing his life. Each note painted pictures more vivid than words could describe. They could almost feel the damp wooden boards of the small shack he called home, smell the salty breeze that came in from the ocean each morning, and hear the market vendors calling out prices as he sang on street corners for spare coins. In his song, there were whispers of nights when the rain leaked through the roof and he would curl up beside his mother, softly humming to ease her cough. There was the sound of his laughter as he splashed through shallow waters, catching fish with his uncle. And there was the ache of loneliness when the day ended, and the world seemed far too big for a boy so small. The judges sat motionless, their eyes fixed on him, as if afraid that even blinking might break the fragile magic that was unfolding. One of them pressed a hand to their chest, feeling each lyric land deep inside. The boy's voice rose higher, carrying the weight of dreams that had never seemed possible until now. The crowd had forgotten their earlier doubts. Strangers who had never met him were now bound together in the quiet realization that they were witnessing something rare, pure, unfiltered truth delivered through music. And as the final notes of the verse faded into the soft strum of the guitar, it was clear, this song wasn't just telling his story. It was changing it. By the time he reached the final chorus, his voice had grown into something powerful yet heartbreakingly tender. The room felt charged, as if every breath, every heartbeat, was moving in time with his song. Then it happened. He held a long, soaring note that seemed to slice through the air and pierce straight into the hearts of everyone listening. One judge suddenly pushed back their chair, their eyes wet, and slammed the golden buzzer with such force that the sound echoed over the music. A gasp swept through the crowd, followed by an explosion of cheers. Golden confetti burst from above, swirling around him like a rain of dreams finally coming true. The boy froze, staring at the glitter falling all around him, his lips parted in disbelief. His small hands trembled, and for a moment, he didn't seem to know whether to smile or cry. The music stopped, but the applause roared on, drowning out everything else. The judges stood, clapping and cheering, and the audience was on their feet, some waving, others wiping tears from their faces. In that dazzling storm of gold, the boy lowered his head, his shoulders shaking, and covered his face with both hands. This wasn't just victory. It was the first time in his life that the world had truly seen him. And in that blinding moment of joy, he realized something even more powerful than the prize. He wasn't just singing for survival anymore, he was singing because he mattered. The stage crew rushed to bring him forward, and the judges stepped down to meet him. One bent low, pulling him into a warm embrace, their voice trembling as they whispered, "You're not just singing, you're healing hearts." The boy clung to them for a moment, trying to steady the storm of emotions swirling inside. When he finally pulled back, his eyes searched for the cameras. Somewhere out there, his mother was watching. He wanted her to see, not just the golden confetti still drifting in the air, not just the standing ovation, but the smile on his face that told her everything was going to change. He held the microphone again, his voice small but steady. "Mama, we made it," he said, and the crowd erupted with even louder cheers. His words weren't just for her, they were for every child who had ever been told they were too small, too poor, too far away from the world's spotlight to matter. The golden glitter clung to his hair and clothes as he waved to the audience, his tears now shining like jewels under the stage lights. The moment felt endless, as if the universe itself had paused to celebrate this triumph. As the curtain slowly fell, the boy's heart was full, not of fear or uncertainty, but of hope. Because for the first time in his life, he knew the world had heard him. And once the world hears you, it can never unhear you.